Hello, welcome to the Lords and Ladies of Fate, to all of you. You've once again found yourselves in the self-proclaimed only Twitch TTRPG stream that allows you, the viewer, to significantly impact the stories being told on your screens. In order to do so, you must spin Fate Ships. These are our loyalty points that you earn just by watching, following, hosting, subscribing, or even for engaging with us in the chat. Use those Fate Ships to heal your favorite players, summon a custom item like a black jade or black onyx figurine of doom, make your players say silly things, force the adventurers into random encounters. Tonight, we are playing Conan, Adventures in an Age Untold by Modifius Entertainment. I will be your GM, Crom, who cares not. I'm Chance. Joining me tonight, we have a fantastic cast. We have Abertack, the Witchfinder. We have Thornicius, the Bostonian archer. We have Zang, the emissary. And Verai, the assassin of doom. Before we get started, does anybody want to do a quick recap of what happened on the last session and where we're currently sitting?
Sure. So we started off in western Apollonia in a port town of Velitrium, which is the second largest Bostonian Marches town. We heard some war drums going and realized that was the Picts sounding a possible invasion. So they started closing off all of the gates to the town, but we realized there were some the friendlies still out in the field trying to make their way back in. Those guys realized they weren't going to make it, so they ran into the woods for cover. We convinced the town's governor to let us out so that we can go protect those individuals and try to get them back in. And in so doing, we made our way out and into the woods, mostly uneventful. We ended up, stumbling across a group of Picts and dispatching all of those judiciously, I might add. But beyond that, one was able to get away, sound the alarm, so we were on the run with a war band of Picts on our tail. We made it to the river, in which case we realized we were surrounded with a surprise extra group of Picts in between us and the river. Another group coming in from the north as well. So we were in a bit of a pickle, and at the last second, we decided to ditch into the river and try to make it across so we can make our way back down into town. And right as we were just getting in, ready to jump into the water, along by random chance, not at all, came some jaguars out of the jungle and then started just roaring into the one of the bands of Picts that was there. Which did allow us enough of a diversion to make our way across the river. And that is where we left off.
Great job. You're coming through just a little bit choppy. I don't know if it's like clearing up your from a fan or something. You're just a little bit choppy there.
Let me just fix that.
Okay. So we find ourselves now just outside the city of Velitrium, maybe like a half a mile away. You've got one ranger with you, and then her injured ranger friend who is barely staying upright and conscious, but only through sheer stubbornness is still managing, while being half carried, to stay mobile enough to get you back into the town, back into the city of Velitrium. As you get to the city, just within sight, you hear from over the walls cheers. You see the guards along the walls cheering, banging their drums, banging their shields, cheering and waving for you guys as you are coming in towards the gate. As you get just in front of the gate opens, not all the way, just enough for you guys to come in. A bunch of the soldiers, a couple of the rangers, all come rushing out, just cheering and like coming out to help you guys in, and they are so incredibly impressed that you guys not only survived, but you came back with those rangers. Yeah, some handkerchiefs raining down. For that, everybody in the party also gets +1 renown when in this area, because that was awesome. The whole town was terrified, and you went out and saved the people. So you get +1 renown when dealing, particularly when dealing with rangers or the city of Velitrium. That story is going to get spread. As you, pretty much the moment you get through the walls, the injured ranger, a couple of people come out with a stretcher to put the injured ranger on it. And about the time that he gets onto the stretcher, he basically just says, "Save them," and passes out. Like, you're amazed he made it as long as he did, because he was running on sheer stubbornness. But yeah, saves them, passes out. The captain, the commander of the watch, or the commander of the city guard, the one you had spoken to before, not the governor, the captain of the actual military arm there, he is there with you as well, clapping you on the back. You guys did a damn great job. I'm so glad that you guys went. Come inside. The first round is on me, and probably the next few rounds is on the rest of the city. So he waves you to his favorite bar, which is kind of near the barracks, if that's where you want to go with him.
Lead the way. I could use a beer.
I told him to turn down free beer.
So he.
I thought you needed beer from last
I
time.
might lose renown if I do that.
Bad score.
Storyline. There we go. He takes you to a bar, tavern place that is obviously frequented by the officers of the town, the military officers, the well-to-do merchants, the ones who are relatively well-connected. There are 2 rangers in here, and then there's the 4 of you plus the 1 female ranger that was relatively uninjured, bumps and scrapes and bruises, but no major injuries. And true to his word, upon entering the place, the commander says, "Rounds for my friends and keep them coming." As you guys step into the bar, these folks just went and rescued, what was her name? I don't remember the injured ranger's name, but Gretcha and whatever the injured's name was, he doesn't really matter because he passed out in the infirmary right now. Gretcha and Phil. Gretcha and Phil. Gretcha being the lady ranger that's with you. Rescued them from the picks. Gretcha looks a little haunted and doesn't really like the attention, but she does approve of having a free drink. A couple of the bar wenches decide to bring the drinks over and congratulate you personally.
I left it in this book.
I'm kind of waiting for some interaction here, but the
That's great. Thank you. I'm wicked thirsty.
the captain of the watch says to Gretcha, "So what really happened out there? What happened?" She takes a long drink, and we saw smoke. We know there's some homesteads out there. We saw smoke. We went to go investigate, and we found a co-op of homesteads. 5 or 8 homesteads in a co-op together. She lists a place, Farmer John, and the captain's like, "Okay, I know that place." There was the 6 or 7 homesteads that are there. There had been an attack, and apparently the picks were taken prisoners.
Prisoners? They normally just pick them clean.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
It's
unusual.
By my count, they took 13 prisoners, and they killed another handful of the settlers, and the rest either fought them off or hid. As we were trying to make it to the next homestead up to warn them, we got ambushed ourselves and barely made it out. There hasn't been this many picks this far east of the Black River in 10 years.
I wonder what might have aroused their attention.
They could be gathering sacrifices for their dark gods.
This is uncharacteristic.
With that, after he says that, Abertak takes a honk of meat and just.
Can I ask Gretcha a question?
Yeah.
So we saw some jaguar. We saw a jaguar figurine, right? And then when we were making our way across the river, there were actual jaguars. Do you have you experienced any, were there any jaguars in the woods with you? Had you noticed any signs of any large animal life?
Now that you mention it, yeah, there has been an increased number of large predators. Usually they stay farther to the west in the actual jungles, in the picked jungles. They don't usually come into the forest area the forest areas in the Western Mark. But yeah, now that you mention it, we have been hearing jaguars and panthers and wolves and other large predators that we don't even have names for.
Yep.
Is there a temple to Bast
No.
in this town? Yeah, even a shrine,
Mitra.
anything? No.
Mitra is the only publicly known deity here.
Large predators that you don't have names for. Can you describe them?
I haven't seen them, but I have heard calls that no earthly animal could make, and I have seen footprints that look like bird claws that are this big.
Where?
Deeper into the forest, towards the Black River.
Will you give us a lore check maybe? Chance? See if we can put some pieces together.
Yeah. Go for it. Bill, for you, it's going to be 1 difficulty. For everyone else, it's 2 difficulty. Because you're a native.
I thought you said they were being invaded by non-native creatures.
Bill is a native.
Yeah, keep up.
He would know more what is and isn't regular here because he's lived here for so long. Whereas for you guys, you might not know what necessarily is and isn't. 1 success.
Just 1 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, just one for me, and now I'm going to roll for Michael.
And 1
critical failure.
What's just a complication?
Yeah.
Complication.
Success. We need
with complication.
All right, so we have a success with complication. Well, I mean, so yeah, you're pretty familiar with the local fauna. Panthers and jaguars and things like that, while not unheard of, are rare to come this far into the forest. They usually stay deeper into the jungle, but it's happened. A settler or 2 has been picked off by a panther in the past. It's not unheard of. And everybody's heard the stories of these other jungle monsters and serpents and saurians and other creatures of horror. Everybody's heard those stories, but that's just the thing. Everybody knows somebody that has seen it, but has never actually seen it themselves. Or everybody that has seen it didn't survive it. One or the other has got to be true. But it rings a bell, but you can't quite figure out what sounds familiar about this. About that point, though, the captain of the watch goes, "Did you say 13 prisoners? What tribe picked them up?" And Gretcha's like, "It wasn't just one tribe. There were 4 or 5 different tribes that were there at the same time." Bill, you know that tribes don't get along.
Yeah, that'd be extremely rare.
Even if they do get along, it's 2, maybe 3 tops. 4, 5 tribes, more than that? No way. Gretchen says, yeah, that's 4 or 5 tribes. There was, I know for certain I saw hawk and eagle. I saw alligator, jaguar, and then...
Which ones attacked us?
Yeah, that attacked us directly. After we found that, one of the survivors of the homestead that we found said that she recognized Cormorant tribe.
How many tribes of Picts are there that are known?
It could, I mean, the Pictish wilderness is huge. A tribe might be as small as a few families in a hut. So there's at least 20 or 30 major tribes that are known, and probably hundreds.
No, that's fine. I was just trying to correlate something to the number 13. So. I still think they might be sacrifices to their dark gods. Hand me another turkey leg.
About that time, another ranger comes into the bar.
How many of these are there?
Rangers? Not enough, apparently.
So far, you've personally seen about 15 in this city, which is a pretty big number. But this is also the capital of the region, and I'm including Bill in that 15. Another one comes in and runs up to the commander of the guard and starts making a report that he was out in a village to the southwest, and the eagle. He said there was an eagle tribe attack, and they took a bunch of prisoners from a homestead to the southwest.
How many?
I don't know, maybe a dozen or so.
That's a lot of sacrifices to the dark gods.
Yes, we get it. Dark gods and whatnot. Shall we set you loose upon
These tribes together and causing chaos than normal.
The commander of the watch says that this is the 4th report that he's heard of this now. 4th different report in the last couple of days of tribes attacking and taking prisoners in the Westermark.
How many captured in each of those instances? We've got 13 and about a dozen so far.
Another one, they said there were 20 casualties, but don't know how many were taken. They just said a bunch of people got taken from the other one.
I want to look at the Rangers and ask, like, that's a lot of captives. It's hard to hide that many captives. Where nearby could they be keeping that number of people under
yeah, Gretchen tells you that this is far and above the largest gathering of Picts that they have seen in 10 years since the sacking of razing of Fort Tusculum.
Right, but there's got to be some place nearby that they're keeping these captives. That's got to mean that we can find it. Like the bigger their area is,
the more tribes, the more smoke.
The captain of the watch goes pale. You see the blood run from the face of the captain of the watch. Tomorrow,
I give his blood back.
Captain, what happened? What's the matter?
There's a blood moon in 2 nights.
See, dark gods, sacrifices. Also, how far?
19 miles directly west.
Is anybody like keeping?
Oh no, it's been completely razed. Nobody goes there anymore. It's called the haunted ruins of Fort Tusculum now. So
in theory, they could be squatting there.
At this point, I'm going to assume that Bill's character is telling you this story. But if you don't, for those of you that don't know the story, it's actually one of Robert E. Howard's stories. He starts telling how the last time that the Picts came over the river in force like this was the razing of Fort Tusculum. And there were thousands of Picts, thousands of them from dozens of tribes that had been gathered together under a sorcerer named, what was the guy's name? I'm trying to remember the guy's name now. Zobelsog?
Yeah,
Zebelsog? Zogarsog. Yeah.
Yeah, some kind of sog. It's always a sog.
Under the control of a shaman named Zogarsog, who could supposedly control the animals and the beasts and the predators of nature, and had somehow convinced all of the Picts to attack. And right at his moment of victory in the ruins of Fort Tusculon, he just fell over and died from dozens of wounds across his body, even though no blade had ever come close to him.
It is the nature of dark sorcery to backlash on its users.
He also tells you that there was a Cimmerian that was a ranger back then, Conan. Conan was being a Cimmerian who was hunting him down, and along with another ranger named Balthus, who gave his life, saved the lives of tons of the villagers by warning them and slowing them down. Within a few months of this, though, Conan had moved on after punishing the Picts heavily.
So, in theory, they could be holed up in the ruins of that.
Gretcha says that the Rangers go there every so often, and they certainly don't have any permanent place there, but nobody likes to go to Tusculon. Everybody's scared of it. They say there's ghosts and beasts.
Well, everybody here is. People who raised it might
not.
They
seem to avoid it. I mean, that was the site of their biggest victory and defeat at the same time.
Well, when was the last time your Rangers or one of your Rangers actually went there to check?
I don't know. We're not
ruins?
really hierarchical like that. We don't really give out orders. I haven't been there in a couple months.
So
I call to the group of Rangers at large.
They all say, "No, I haven't really been out that way lately."
Sounds like we need to make a visit.
Or at least get close enough that we could see. I mean, we don't have to go right there. We should be able to go somewhere and be able to see, is there an encampment there? Because this number of
a horde,
captives. Well, they might not be a horde, right? The rest of them could be in smaller camps, but they have to be keeping the captives somewhere, and that location's got to be conspicuous from its size.
So Tusculon was burnt down. There is just rubble and ruin that's left there. It was completely razed.
It's natural pick.
There's still like some wall foundations, and the nature hasn't regrown into it. It has just stayed a blackened, charred husk of a place. People are afraid to go there. They say they hear things. People have an exorbitantly high number of accidents when they're there. People say they have terrible dreams if they camp there.
All right, so if this sounds like one of the best places that could stage that many captives, if we want to mount an expedition, let's try to figure out what it is that we need, whether or not we need pack animals, or if we can do this on foot, and if there's a contingent of the Captain's Guard that would be able to go with us.
Oh, I missed that. Tangent Turner, thank you very much.
Oh.
Sorry, I got so distracted. Cults love sacrificing strangers. Yes, they do.
And family.
And family. Yeah, sure. So the Gretchen, the commander says we have a main road between here and there. There's a bunch of settlers that live off and near that road. But if that's where they're taking them, there's no way that you won't be seen going up that road there.
Is there another way around?
You can cut cross country.
I mean, we could follow the road until we get within eyesight and then cut off of it. That seems to be...
Depends.
If they're even
If the Picts are there, it depends on how far out they're watching and how aggressive they're being.
Well, the rest of this evening, I have some shopping to do.
Well, we also said.
It's very.
Sorry, you also said that there are settlements along that road too, right? So, if we can at least make our way settlement to settlement and get progressively closer, we'll at least be able to identify if the settlements are hearing from other settlements further on, and if there's actually like, burnt to the ground settlements, we'll at least know to stop there. There's signs, and we can go from there, right? We don't have to make it all the way there if we see
It's a
signs.
remarkably good idea.
I'm gonna go retrieve my. Yeah, I need a bucket of tar. I need 10 torches. I need flint and steel, and then I need his leg.
The captain says nobody's allowed to leave. The governor has locked the city down. I'm amazed he let you go out in the first place, and that was because there were rangers in imminent danger.
We can be very convincing.
I genuinely, the captain says you have my support, but if the governor says you can't leave, will do my damnedest to prevent you from leaving.
Captain, will you escort us to go find the governor? Maybe.
Yeah, I'll take you right now.
Yeah, together maybe we can convince him.
Yeah, I'll take you right now.
Meanwhile, advertise.
Chance,
Do some
what time is it, Chance? Because I don't want to miss like a window to do a little bit of shopping.
It's let's see. It was around lunchtime when you went out before. Now you made it back after a few miles, so it's early evening. But if you need basic supplies, you'll be able to find them.
Okay.
Yes, I wouldn't mind having.
Actually, on that note, as you're in there, I forgot to mention this too. There is he's not rotund, but there is a very well-fed merchant in there, talking loud, talking a big game, who's also saying, let me buy you drinks, let me get you food, let me take care of you, you guys are amazing.
And where is this merchant from?
He appears to be a Bosonian, so relatively a local.
Before we leave, has anybody heard of a ranger named, what was the guy we're looking for?
Edgard.
Edgard. Has anybody crossed paths with Edgard lately?
Gretcha, actually, the one of the two that you just saved. She says, yeah, I was just up north a month or two ago and had a beer with him.
See. Did he mention where he might be heading or ranging?
He's been spending a lot of time in, and she says, Farmer Hank's settlement.
Okay, well, that's a clue. I'll take it. Yes, off to the governor's. We need to convince him.
Okay. You make it to the governor's mansion with the captain of the watch, and it is damn near surrounded by a wall of guards and torches. Afraid of picked assassins in the night at this point. Maybe more than is probably necessary. He's taking all possible precautions to protect himself here.
All due precaution for someone of his stature.
And because the captain is with you, he basically just shuttles you through. You get to a relatively decent-sized sitting room. I mean, for the region, it's no Aquilonian palace, but it is a governor's mansion. So he takes you to a sitting room in there, and an administrative assistant runs off to find the governor. He's busy. He's busy. I'll get him as soon as I can.
What was the governor's
his
name
name
again?
was Lord Tavos.
Tavos. Okay, good.
I look around at the people with me, and anybody good at persuasion? Yes.
That would be my job.
And give me a hot
hammer to
poker.
the skull.
We will not torture the governor.
Unless he's a witch.
He said a hot hooker. That's not torture.
Hurt him.
Right?
A poker? I hardly know her.
None of us
Liquor.
believe
I
that.
didn't think
You know her.
When has that ever stopped you?
Anyways, maybe 10 or 15 minutes later, the governor comes out, flanked on either side by 2 heavily armed bodyguards. They're not being threatening towards you, but he's not going anywhere without an escort at this point.
Governor Tavos, good to see that you are taking proper precautions in a time like this.
Yeah, with a picked attack imminent, we need to protect ourselves and make certain to save the people of the city, and the people of the region must be safe. This city has to be protected at all costs. If we lose this city, we lose the Bosonian marches. So yeah, we gotta protect the city and the walls and.
On that matter, I have something I'd like to discuss with you. We've heard
Yes,
rumors.
thank you so much for saving those Rangers. It was great to do. I'm so glad that I had the guard open the gate to let you guys out.
Yes, it was a wise decision on your part.
And now we've got an extra Ranger. I know I'm interrupting. That's his personality. And now we have an extra Ranger on the wall, and you guys have proven what strong fighters you are. If they come to attack, you guys will help a lot. Oh, we have an item redeemed from Felix Feldfinger, a very desirable feathered quill. So, Mr. Talker, one of your special items that you have now is a rather desirable feathered quill of yours.
I shall put this to good use and don. I shall place it upon myself in some useful location.
Don it or don
it makes me yes. My English is not the best sometimes. In any case, Lord Tavos, I do have a matter to discuss with you. We've heard rumors that there are a gathering of Picts just outside of town in what was the name of that?
Fort Tunguska.
Tuscalon.
Yes.
Tuscaloosa.
Tuscalon.
That was close.
Yes. Well, we hear that they are preparing to perform a dark ritual that might
loose evil forces upon the land.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Evil forces upon the
are you
land.
sure about? Oh God, we need to double the watch. All right. Nobody.
Doubling the watch will do no good once the dark and evil entities worshipped by the heathen Picts
Y'all are scaring.
Crawl their way into your very dreams. We must stop this sacrifice from happening under the blood moon, and only by the will of the bright gods can we deliver this place from
Yeah,
evil.
they tried that 10 years ago, and we stopped them at the walls, barely.
But you're still here 10 years later.
Yes, because we stopped them at the walls. If we'd have sent people out, we would have lost them too, like we lost Fort Tuscalon. We can't fight them on their own territory. They're better woodsmen than us. Our people would be overwhelmed.
I think that's good.
If I may, sir.
Agree.
If I may, sir, you don't actually have to fight them on their own territory. You can stay behind your walls, and you can allow a small party of us to go and consider us a scouting party to see the enemy's total number of strength of forces, and we can maybe even resolve this issue so it doesn't even make it to your walls in the first place.
Yeah, the last Rangers that went out, you had to rescue them. We don't have the forces to rescue you, and we need you on the walls.
Actually, the last Rangers that went out for us, we
preserve you from the outer dark.
I think we have some redemptions. Let's see, item. I'm getting overwhelmed. I can't read. Redeem encounter. are we redeeming? There's like 5 things. You guys are getting some love here.
Give us. We like.
You guys are getting some love. About this point in time, the captain opens up the captain opens up a secret cubby in one of the cabinets, and just grabs a couple of goblets and starts pouring down out of a very, very fancy decanter, a crystal decanter. Starts pouring some brown liquid gold into some goblets and handing them out to you guys and to the governor, and drinking himself, having a couple extras. If now isn't the time for this, Governor, then I don't know when is the right time for this. Can't let it go to waste if something goes to shit, sir.
Brown liquid gold.
I take
Whiskey.
That's only a sip.
Very heavily distilled whiskey.
I know what
No whiskey can save you from the outer dark, but it's worth a try.
This is this be some nice hooch. This be some good whiskey that he just pulled out of that secret cubby. It was from the governor's secret stash.
Brown liquid gold.
Brown liquid gold.
How much of a lightweight is the governor?
So the governor's probably in his 40s, mid 40s. He's paunchy. I mean, he's rich and not a soldier, so he likes to eat
And drink.
So he's not going to be greatly affected by 1 or 2, although he might have already had 1 or 2 also.
Any of y'all think you can drink him under the table? Maybe we can kind of scribble a handprint onto a document to get us out of the city gates. We need out.
I honestly doubt I'd need that, but Your Honor, I do believe that it would be better for us to interrupt the dark ritual. I'm very reticent to allow this to go on.
Can I pull the captain and just aside to ask him a small question without out of earshot of the governor?
Sure.
Okay. I mean, even like
I think I'm sufficiently distracting.
Yeah, the rest of us. I mean, like we can all be here together. I have just a question. I'm concerned about the criminal element of the town. If Pix will be coming, there's a chance that the criminal element might try to do something nefarious, like kind of seize grain repositories or something along that to try to give themselves an upper hand, right? Are there any prominent criminal, like black marketeers or anything like that in this area, particularly ones capable in smuggling that we might need to go keep an eye on, or at least identify what it is that they're doing? Are there any around here?
He says, this is a port town. We've got smuggling, we've got black marketers. We try to stop the ones that are the most egregious, but we can only stop so much without shutting down all trade entirely anyways. So yeah, definitely I could see some of those cowards trying to profit off of an emergency like this, trying to profit off of a crisis, but if I had any 1 or 2 that I could point at and say these are the dangerous ones, I would have already snatched them up.
Okay, just checking.
I can't hear you, Andy. You're muted.
As he walks by, I'm gonna mutter in Zamori, and maybe some of those ne'er-do-wells could even smuggle us out of the gates.
Mike, give me a
That was for you, Bob, by the way.
Mike, persuasion, please. Oh, you do have a good persuasion score. It would be a difficulty 3 because he's terrified, but thanks to the firewater, it's only difficulty 2.
And the outer dark. All right, Mr. Rolfer.
So, Verai.
He got a complication.
Redemption in there.
And a success.
Okay.
I see Felix Feltfinger with this helmet.
I'd like to use a.
So how do I help?
All right. So what was your roll? So 1 success and a complication.
I'd like to use a point of fate to
a fortune.
give myself yes, a fortune.
Fortunate up. Okay, that's good because you needed it. So yeah, you use a point of fortune, and well, funny enough, I guess the governor had been having a couple of drinks already, as his heavy-lidded eyes, as his heavy-lidded eyes, he wants to say yes. He's just terrified, and you decide to speak a little quickly at him and say a thing in confusing grammar. He says yes, but he thinks he's saying no, but he's actually saying no because you wanted him to say yes, sort of thing. A double negative led to proof positive. And the captain hears it and goes, "All right, Governor, we got it. We're going to get out of here." I heard what I needed to hear.
And be warned, because the dark powers are hungry, and you are an immensely juicy bit of man flesh.
Hey, Variety, see the Skype chat?
If you know what I mean.
I worked it in for him. What to do until it benefits me.
Tangent Turner says you can curse his name if you want.
I did your man flesh bit because I didn't think you saw it.
Yep.
So I have to be double entendres, if you know what I mean.
That's the ticket. So momentum has to be called when you're rolling. Fortune can be called after the roll. Yep. Okay. But yeah, it's never supposed to be wasted. So the captain shuttles you out, being like, "All right, you heard him. He said no, you couldn't. No, you didn't have to stay here." So
yeah, we do not have to stay here.
Yep, as long as he doesn't come to and realize what he said, I tell you what.
Then we'd best leave soon, but I need to stop by the
Abertac, give yourself an extra 50 XP, please, because Felix Feltbringer suddenly likes you.
Why, thank you. You will be spared the outer dark.
The captain says, "I'm gonna go back in and pour him another one just to make certain that he doesn't remember what he said." You
don't kill him.
I would. He's the governor. I'm here to protect him. That's my primary role.
Good man.
So
we'll meet at the gate.
in
2 hours.
I'll send a runner to my lieutenant to make certain that you guys are equipped. When do you plan on leaving?
We will meet at the gate in 2 hours.
Okay. I'll let my lieutenant know. Be at the western gate in 2 hours, over the one at the docks.
And Abertac starts walking